So Michael is finally here, the Guard Codex. I know you've been very excited for this one and waiting very patiently, like many people at home, I'm sure. How are you feeling?
I am buzzed, Steve. I cannot wait to put these back on the table and feel really confident about it.
Yeah.
It's an army that has a lot of play, there's a lot of depth in the book, lots of flavour, and I can't wait to get stuck in.
So let's go over absolutely everything that you're going to need to know at home. And if you're watching along, you know, getting your maybe order in for the brand new Cadia Stands box, which has been kindly given us by Games Workshop. It comes with the Codex.
Yes.
You get a huge selection of models on here, and there's rules for these models, obviously, in the book as well. And they're a little bit unique, I would say. So, Michael, let's kick off first of all with detachment abilities, attachment rules. I think that's pretty much a good place to start.
So we'll get some of the sort of crunch out of the way. So obviously Astra Militarum detachments gain chain of command, okay, which is this bit later on that talks about who has to be Warlord. You can take a Militarum Tempestus detachment and it becomes a Militarum Tempestus, its own sort of detachment if you only include Scions, the command squad for Scions, like Commissars or Abhumans, like your Ogryns or Rattlings, that kind of thing. And of course you can have some of your Psykers in there too. And that's a whole thing, Scions as well.
Okay, so we can either take a pure, what we kind of see as a Guard army.
Yep, that's right.
Imperial Guard, or we can take Imperial Guard with Scions.
That's right, yeah.
Or we can take pure Scions.
Yes.
And the kind of detachment abilities just essentially tells us the rules and regulations of what we can and can't take.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Troops gain the objective secured ability,
Yeah.
Which we'll have covered many times, but helps you hold objectives better.
Yeah.
And then all of your regimental units, so that's basically going to be anything that's just Guard, that's just a regiment.
Kind of what you see here.
What you see here, not your Psykers, not your Militarum Tempestus Scions, and not like your Ogryns, that kind of thing.
Okay, because your Ogryns and the Rattlings, they're a little bit different, aren't they?
Yeah.
They kind of work with the Guard, but they're not
exactly
part of the regiments.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And these regimental units, they gain born soldiers.
Born soldiers. And is that like your kind of legion or chapter rule?
Exactly that.
Okay,
yeah,
and what is that?
So if you're within 6 inches of officers, you can use their leadership.
Okay.
Not bad. And every ranged unmodified hit of a 6 is a wound.
Okay.
Automatically wounds the enemy.
Okay, so you don't need to you completely skip that wounding phase.
That's right.
So if I'm shooting with, let's say 4 las cannons, I miss with 1, hit with 1, then I roll 2 6s.
Yep.
Those 2 6s automatically wound.
That's right.
And then I just need to roll the 1 that hit to go. Okay, so you're actually missing out then some of those wounding rolls, and that's going to be very efficient, especially with lots of shots.
Exactly. Low strength into high toughness. It's going to really, really help.
Yeah.
And they do count as unmodified 6s to wound.
Okay.
So if you can find some tricks in here, maybe I'll have some to discuss in a future video, then you can think about some sneaky stuff.
So how to trigger them. A little bit like the Votan.
Yeah.
Okay. All right then. So that's your Born Soldiers ability. Right, okay, what's next then?
Chain of command. So obviously, if you've got officers, an officer has to be your warlord.
Okay.
All right. Now, if you've got commandants, so there are some very high-ranking officers, these officers have the commandant keyword. So like Creed, for example, or a Castellan, you can only have 1 per detachment.
Right.
Okay. And then the last one is, if you've got Lord Solar Leontus,
Yeah.
he has to be your warlord.
He's a baller, isn't he?
He is awesome.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
And we've got our converted guy right here.
Yeah.
For now as a bit of a stand-in, but you can see Michael's done a great job on this army. It's very beautiful.
Thank you.
But if we do point to Lord Solar, we are going to be pointing to this one because we don't have the exact model yet for you. We're not exactly sure on the base size it comes on.
Not certain, no.
But
yeah.
Obviously we will be talking about, we can't not talk about this Guard Codex and include Lord Solar. Okay, awesome. All right, nice. So what's the next bit we're going to talk about?
Regimental Doctrines are here. This is your chapter traits, kind of like custom traits almost for some of the other factions, except there's no like named ones. There's no Cadia, there's no Talon, there's no Steel Legion.
Right, okay, because before you could pick one of those.
Yeah.
And you got like what we've seen in previous books, like a Warlord Trait and a Relic, or sometimes a Psychic Power and a Stratagem.
Yeah.
You don't get that.
No.
But what you get instead is the ability to pick how many of these.
You get 2. So you can drop Born Soldiers, which I've just talked about, which is the 6s to hit auto wound.
Right.
And you could take 2 of these. Oh, and of course the leadership buff. And you could take 2 of these instead. All right.
Okay.
So shall we talk about some big ones?
How many are there to start with?
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
15. And we're going to do some members content on some of our top combinations. Yeah. So if you want a little bit more shooty army, you know, what combos you'd look at. Maybe you want one that really plays the mission well.
Yep.
And then maybe one that maybe even does combat. So that could be really interesting. That'll be on our members content videos, and you can become a member for the low price of $2.99 and get some fantastic members content from us. So yeah, let's go over a few of these. I think it's worth probably going through very quickly what these 15 are, because I think it's good to just give a really good overview. What's the first one?
So the first one is Mechanized Infantry. You gain the Mechanized keyword. Now, you gain keywords for some of these, and then some stratagems are cheaper if you've got that specific keyword.
Right.
So that sort of rolls into how you play your army.
Okay.
Now, Mechanized, you can disembark from a transport after it's moved.
Okay, that's really strong.
It's amazing. However, you can't move afterwards.
Okay.
And you can't charge afterwards.
So you can basically move your full distance of your Chimera, jump out within 3.
And just shoot.
And then just shoot.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good to me.
It's pretty cool. Parade drill, if you stand still, you're heavy 2 las guns instead of rapid fire 2.
Okay.
Rapid fire 1.
So if you stand still, you basically essentially get to rapid fire at full range.
Yeah, basically.
Okay,
basically.
Nice, yeah.
Then we've got Armoured Superiority, and you gain a keyword with this one as well. Sentinel models count as 3 models for holding objectives.
Okay.
Titanic count as 10. Any other vehicle model counts as 5.
Right, so just to increase your ability to maybe score on the primary.
Exactly.
To put some more models down on those objectives.
Yep.
In the version of monsters in vehicles in Sentinels. Okay, cool, yep.
Blitz Division, so you half the cost of the power level of these when you're putting them in Strat Reserve.
Right, okay.
And then in the second battle round, any vehicles except Sentinels, you can set up 1 round as if they counted as coming in round 1, essentially. So you count as coming in a battle round earlier.
Okay.
So for strategic reserves, if you came in round 2, normally you can't turn up in your opponent's deployment zone.
Yep.
With these guys, you can.
Okay.
And then round 3, obviously there's no more restrictions.
Yeah.
So cheaper to get to put in reserve.
Yeah.
Interesting. Expert Bombardiers.
All right.
I know there'll be a fair few fans of this because this affects artillery, really.
Okay.
So you gain a keyword, which we've just mentioned. Each time an artillery model makes a ranged attack, if the target of that attack is within 12 of and visible to a Voxcaster or Sentinel unit, you get +1 to your hit roll.
Right, so +1 to hit bonus on all your artillery as long as you hit those criteria.
Yeah.
Really good. Yeah. Okay, like it.
Heirloom weapons, this is just +4 inches to the range of all your weapons, excluding relics.
Can't go wrong with that. +4 range, yeah.
Straightforward. Recon operators, you get a scout move of 6 with any of your infantry, cavalry, or sentinel units.
So essentially a move before the game even begins of 6 inches on your infantry, that's very strong. We've seen that be used so much with things like Necrons.
Yeah.
And it can be very powerful to maybe tuck in terrain, get firing angles, set up charges, or get on those early objectives and start even doing actions like engage on all fronts.
Yeah.
Just to even be in different quarters. Okay, I really like that, yeah.
We have Trophy Hunters. This one you can't choose if you selected any other doctrine.
Okay.
And if you select this doctrine, you can't choose a second one.
Okay.
So this is all-consuming, we might call it, as a doctrine. And you get +1 to your strength each time you make an attack against monsters or vehicles. And that's for shooting or combat or anything.
Okay.
Not bad.
Pretty good, yeah.
Grim Demeanor. So you gain a keyword and you ignore modifiers to your combat attrition.
Okay.
It's all right.
Yep.
Brutal Strength. Now, each of these, you're going to think, oh, actually, that sounds like this legion or this regiment from previous times, right? So Brutal Strength, you're thinking Catachan. You ignore the heavy penalty for infantry.
Okay, yeah.
Which is quite cool.
Yeah.
And if you make a charge move, word charge, or intervened, you get +1 to your strength.
Right, yeah. So
if you're infantry.
So those sort of flavours are still in here?
Yes.
So that means no matter what type of army you've got, like you've got here the Talon, typically a very sort of, I don't know, fast-paced?
Fast.
So the recon operators might work quite well there just to kind of make your army feel like it's running up the table, lots of cavalry.
Exactly.
Really trying to get that early charge in early positioning. So I like that. Okay, cool.
We've got Veteran Guerrillas.
Yep.
So they gain a keyword, and each time an infantry or sentinel model makes an attack that targets an enemy unit within 18 inches, they ignore the benefits of cover.
Okay.
That'll be dense cover, it'll be light cover.
That's really strong on a
quite
shooting
good.
army, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite good. But mind, it's only infantry and sentinels.
Yeah.
Then we've got elite sharpshooters, gain a keyword, and when they shoot, you can reroll one of their shots.
Okay.
One of their attacks.
Yeah. Is that only in the shooting phase, or does that work in combat
Just
as well?
shooting. Just
Okay.
shooting.
Yep.
And then we've got Cult Sacrifice. So
Right.
this will reminiscent of the Death Corps Krieg.
Okay. Yeah.
They're Cult Sacrifice. They gain a keyword, and if they're under starting strength, they get +1 to their hit rolls
Very good.
when they shoot.
Nice. Yeah.
Industrial efficiency. So this is second to last. AP1 is treated as AP0.
Okay.
This was similar to the Steel Legion, if you're a fan of those guys. And then we've got Swift as the Wind, which obviously is representative of the Talon.
Yeah.
Add 1 to the move of infantry and artillery.
Yeah.
Add 2 to the move of everything else. Add 1 to charge rolls for everything.
Great.
I'm just going to move all over the board and charge things. It's going to be really cool.
I mean, I'm loving the pre-game 6-inch move combined with Swift
Yeah.
as the Wind.
Yeah, it's quite a cool idea.
I really like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and already I'm sure many of you at home can start to see those combos and what you might start to lean into for your army. And we always teach that on our academy is lean into an approach. Exactly. Really pick a theme, build into it, and start to pick units and abilities and stratagems that are going to synergize in that one kind of main dimension, and then have a little bit of extra units on the outskirts to help you have those kind of toolbox units to deal with things that your army doesn't typically do.
Yeah.
So it means that you're not going to waste any efficiencies. No, I really like that.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely going to stick to a theme, and there are some really good themes with these guys. And then obviously you can cover all of your weaknesses with the rest of the picks in the army.
Nice. So Michael, we've got stratagems up next. There's a lot of stratagems by the looks of it.
Yeah, there's the usual sort of 4 pages of stratagems. They're all, I would say that is a good rounded number. They're all good.
Yeah.
Like some of them pretty cheap.
Let's go through them, yeah.
Let's go through them, yeah. So we've got one here where you can shoot and reroll wounds if you've disembarked from a vehicle this turn.
Okay.
So that's for a core unit.
Nice, yeah.
So you can already start to see some synergies with the Regiment Doctrines.
Yeah.
Already. And then we've got one which is Vengeance for Cadia. So you have to be a Cadian unit or within 6 inches of a Cadian officer. Okay. And you get +1 to wound against chaos.
Right.
Quite good for countering all of those black market, black rune of damnations out there.
Yeah. So we've got a stratagem for that, yeah.
Yeah. We've got Cadia stands.
Yeah.
And this means you use it on a Cadian infantry unit and you cannot wound them on anything better than a 4.
Okay, and Cadian infantry units, just to be clear now, are their own designated unit entry now.
That's right. So Cadian, there's Cadian command squads, Cadian infantry. We've got Cadian Castellans, Creed, and then there is a Cadian shock troops unit, exactly as you say, which benefit from this as well. So there's Cadian shock troops. Yeah. There's Death Corps of Krieg. They're different data sheets. There's Katchan jungle fighters, a different data sheet, and then we've got the standard infantry squad for anything that fits outside those lines. Yeah. So it might be like before you say I'm playing Cadia or Cadians. Yeah. And you'd be able to use this anytime, but now you can't. It is solely on those units that exactly have that keyword. Exactly. Because you could have some of these kind of like Talon essentially doesn't exist anymore in terms of the rules. Yeah. But obviously you can still use these beautiful models in all the flavour of the books, but you could have a Cadia or Cadian specific unit in this army, right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And like they're helping out. Yeah, exactly. And I'll probably go ahead and say I'm going to run this squad as Cadian shock troops, provided that any other squad that looks like them is also exactly the same, just so that there's no confusion for your opponent. Yeah, okay. Ingrained precision. So this is if you've got born soldiers, which is the one you start with, and it makes a 5 an auto wound that counts as a 6 instead of a 6. It's very good. We've got overlapping fields of fire. So if an enemy model is destroyed by a platoon or squadron model in your army, then till the end of the phase, if another platoon or squadron army shoots at them, you can reroll 1s, and you on an unmodified 6 to wound, AP is increased by 1 as well. Right, okay, cool. And obviously this would stack really well with that Born Soldiers ability. Exactly, and the strat that's just come before it as well. Because any of the 5s count as 6s to wound. So to sum that up, one model, or one unit, kills a model from a unit. That's right. And then you can use this stratagem, so then everything else that fights, it just gets a little bit more efficient with extra AP and those things. Cool, nice, like it. Volley fire. So you can shoot twice with an infantry squad unit from your army that remains stationary.
Right, and that's at the end of the phase.
That's right. End of the phase, and I should also say, when it says infantry squad, that is a specific data sheet. So that's not the Cadian shock troops or the Death Courts of Creed.
Right.
It's the basic infantry squad.
So it's not an infantry model.
No.
But as we know, to move through terrain and all that kind of stuff, it's specifically that squad.
Yes. Infantry squad.
Like
Tactical squad for Marines.
Yeah, cool.
Infantry squad.
Yeah, got it.
We then have experienced eye. This was a great one. So when Kassakin or elite sharpshooters core units, so remember that's a keyword we get from taking a doctrine.
Yeah.
When they shoot, you can increase their AP by 1.
Okay, nice.
So this could work on Kassakin, or you could, let's say, get Sentinels and give them the elite sharpshooters, and it could work on them.
Yeah, because your whole army would essentially be elites.
Exactly. Yeah, because you gain those keywords.
Yeah.
We then have immovable indoctrination. This is for your Scions unit if they're on an objective.
Yeah.
You cannot reroll wounds against them, and they reduce the armor penetration characteristic of an attack against.
So they essentially become a Legers Votan model.
Yeah, basically.
They get their...
They're on an objective and
We're having void armor for
we're
today.
having void armor, yeah.
Okay, cool. I like it. Nice, yeah.
So yeah, those awesome. They're all the battle tactics. We then have some epic deeds.
My faves. Epic deeds, yeah.
Relentless. This is one I was hoping would come into the book.
Okay.
And this allows you to make a model, so a vehicle, count as if it was on its full wounds for its characteristics for that turn. And you do this in the command phase. So a Lehman Russ that's got 1 wound left, you can spend a CP, and now it counts as having all of its wounds left for its shooting profile.
So let's say your Baneblade is massively affected.
Yes.
And it's hitting on 5s or something rubbish. You can spend how many CPs to get this thing firing on all brackets?
So for a Titanic model, it's 2 CPs.
Pretty good though.
It's still very, very good.
Pretty good to have, full
Definitely
efficiency out of a Titanic. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's a fantastic one. We then have field promotion.
Okay.
So in the circumstance where your Warlord dies,
Yeah.
you can select an officer in your army
Yeah.
and then generate a Warlord trait for them, and then they count as your Warlord for all purposes. So if they die later on, then your opponent will get slay the enemy Warlord.
Yeah.
But if one dies and they survive, then they don't get slay the enemy Warlord.
Okay, for that extra point, obviously on Assassinate, for example. Okay, and you can only use that stratagem once.
That's right, yeah.
And is it randomly determined, that Warlord trait? Do you have to roll on the chart?
No, you choose one,
Okay.
but it can't be one someone else has.
Right, yeah. So you can't double up.
No.
Okay.
Vengeful Salute. This is pretty funny. So if you kill one of my vehicles, Steve,
Yeah.
and my vehicle does not explode,
Right.
I can now fire with that vehicle,
Okay.
but only its turret weapon,
Right.
and it has a ballistic skill of 5+.
Okay.
So you kill my tank,
And you can
and
shoot.
I'm like, goodbye, and then shoot you with my turret.
That's great.
It's awesome.
That's pretty good, actually.
It's 1 CP for a battle tank, which is the Lehman Russes or the Rogal Dawn.
Yeah. 1 CP.
1 CP.
To fire that thing's turret.
Yeah,
That's good.
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
If you've got the armoured superiority, it's also 1 CP.
Okay.
So you could potentially, if you took that doctrine and had a Titanic unit,
Nice.
you could, for 1 CP, fire the turret weapon of the Baneblade
Okay.
when it dies. Otherwise, it costs 2 CP,
Okay.
which is quite cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Battlefield Surgery, this is for medics. Pretty standard for most medic units these days. 1 CP in your command phase. You can bring back D3 models, excluding officers. So if you've got a command squad and your officer dies for some reason, you can't just bring them back.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
That's really good.
Death Courts of Creed can do it because they've got a medic in the unit.
Yeah.
But otherwise, command squads.
Okay, and we can show you some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, in members' content of how you can really leverage things like bringing models back.
Yeah.
Really like it.
Crush them. Gotta love it. So the fight phase, when a battle tank or super heavy model is selected to fight,
Yep.
each time they make attacks against enemy units that aren't vehicles or monsters, because this represents them sort of running them over, their weapon skills now 4+.
Okay.
If they have the armoured keyword, it's now 3+. The armoured keyword comes with potential upgrades you can put on tanks called track guards. And some tanks have it built in. So a Baneblade, for example, already has armour on its tracks.
Okay.
So it has it built in.
Right.
And then on 6s, unmodified 6s, to wound, there's a mortal wound instead. Sorry, in addition.
In addition.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you were a born soldier,
Yeah.
Would 6s to hit then trigger this ability?
They would, yeah.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Yes. No, because it's range attacks only. Right.
Right, so ranged attacks only on born soldiers, doesn't
yes.
work in combat. This is a combat ability. So I'm glad we checked it, so now you know at home. Yeah. Cool.
Perfect. Fire on my position.
Yeah.
Bit of spite with this one. So when a Voxcaster is destroyed by a melee attack, you can then decide on having a bombardment arrive on that Voxcaster.
No way.
So like if you've seen Predator, just start going and then so a d6 for each unit within 3 inches of the Voxcaster,
Right.
friendly or enemy.
Okay.
And on a 4+, they suffer d3 mortal wounds, and then the Voxcaster is removed from play.
Wow.
If you have the Cult of Sacrifice keyword, then the stratagem costs 1 CP. Otherwise, it costs 2.
I like it.
But it's pretty funny.
I'm going to hate it, playing against it, but I like it.
It's pretty funny. I love it. We then have stratagems that are pretty familiar to most people. So there's one to give extra Warlord Traits out.
Unless you're a demon.
Yeah, unless you're a demon. And then there's one to give out Relics.
Unless you're a demon.
Well, they actually do have that one.
Okay. Joke didn't work, but there we go.
And then there's one to give relics, specific relics, to sergeants.
Right, okay. Like it.
And I've also got some combos for that as well.
And when you say a sergeant, who's a sergeant?
So specifically, if you've got a unit and there is a model in there with the sergeant or watchmaster word in their profile, watchmaster is the Death Corps of Krieg sergeant, essentially.
In the unit?
In the unit, yes. And then sergeants there's a lot of units with different sergeants in them.
Right, so infantry or Cadian?
Even the Rough Riders.
Okay, cool.
Sergeants
so you can chuck some relics on some of your normal units?
Yeah.
Okay, I like it, nice.
Yeah, so relic, Warlord Trait, relic to a sergeant.
Yeah.
We then have orbital interference.
Yep.
Love this one. So if you've got an officer of the fleet on the battlefield, if it's the first or second battle round, you can select one of your opponent's reinforcement units, in strat reserve or reinforcements. They cannot come on that turn, even if they have rules that say they normally could.
Like a drop pod.
Like a drop pod. You could say, no drop pod for you. 2 CPs.
I mean, that's incredibly powerful.
I can tell you I'm probably putting one of these guys in the army.
To have that as a play, you definitely need an officer of the fleet.
Yeah.
Straight in the basket.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And you can only use it once, thankfully, otherwise that'd be a bit silly.
How many drop pods are bringing in?
Yeah, exactly. So that's amazing. Maverick maneuvers. Your sentinel unit in your shoot phase, after it's fired, it can make a normal move of 6 inches.
Okay.
But it can't move again in that phase. So sort of a shoot and fade with sentinels. Thunderous charge.
Okay.
This one's for Ogryns or Rough Riders. Love this one, obviously, because I love Rough Riders.
Who doesn't?
And you roll a d6 for each of your models in that unit that are within engagement range of the enemy unit.
Yep.
And then if you roll a dice for each one, if it's equal to or exceeds the enemy unit's toughness, they suffer a mortal wound.
Like a Hammer of Wrath?
Essentially, yes. Yeah.
Okay, nice, yeah.
Then we have artillery strike requested.
Mm-hmm.
This one we've kind of seen before in other places. So if you've got a Master of Ordnance or an Expert Bombardier's Officer, which is one of the keywords from the Doctrines, then you select a point on the battlefield, start your next command phase, you can roll a dice for everybody within a certain range, and it will do mortal wounds, and it will subtract something if it's subtract 1 if it's a character, just so it's harder to do them.
So like a kind of orbital bombardment mortal wound.
Yeah, and you can only use it once.
Yep,
But yeah, then we've got acceptable losses.
Yep.
So you can shoot an enemy unit, even though it's in engagement range of your guys.
Don't do it.
But only if they're platoon or Grim Demeanor units. So Grim Demeanor, another regiment doctrine thing. Platoon. So platoon applies to pretty much all your core infantry.
Right.
Your Rough Riders and your Sentinels. So you could but you couldn't shoot them if they're engaging with a tank.
So what I'm getting from this is, let's say you're in combat with a unit of my Rough Riders, and then I can use my tank to shoot at the enemy unit that's in range of my Rough Riders.
That's right.
Right, but what if I miss or something? Or
well, you can't re-roll your hit rolls.
Okay.
If you've got any way of doing that.
Yeah.
And on an unmodified 1, you hit your unit.
Okay. Cool.
So if you want to fire your Baneblade at the unit that's in combat with your Rough Riders,
carry on. Just don't roll ones.
Carry on.
Just don't roll ones.
Yeah, acceptable losses. It's fine. Vicious traps.
Yep.
This is a classic. So if you've got a Astra Militarum unit wholly within a terrain feature,
Yep.
And your opponent charges you, then you can roll a d6, and you can do d3 mortals on a 2 to 5, and then 2d3 on a 6+.
Yep.
And you get a +1 if you've got Catachan or Veteran Guerrillas keyword.
Right.
+1 if that unit has the Melter Mine keyword, which
Right.
is Slime Arbo and the Kassakin.
Okay.
And you get +1 if your army includes Slime Arbo.
Right. So you can basically start doing on a 4+ is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
2d3 mortal wounds, someone that charges you. So if you charge Slime Arbo, he actually gets +3 to it.
Wow.
So on a 3+, you take 2d3 mortal wounds. So don't charge Slime Arbo. He's
Don't-
waiting for you.
Don't charge him, no.
Fating Strike, dead simple. Rough Rider unit can fall back and shoot and charge.
Okay.
I mean,
That's an incredible
I couldn't
stratagem.
ask for more, if I'm honest.
What I love about all these stratagems is that they're really bespoke to different units.
Yes.
And also it can kind of make your army feel like the way you want to play it.
Exactly, yeah.
And it gives a real reason to take these individual units. So I would definitely include Slime Harbo.
He's pretty cool.
Master of the Fleet. Was it Officer of the Fleet?
Officer of the Fleet, yeah.
Definitely put one of those in.
Yeah.
So already these start to become little auto-includes just to unlock these stratagems.
Yeah.
Okay, I really like it, yeah.
Flak Barrage. This one's really cool. I'm glad they put something in here for the Hydra. So
Okay.
It's Hydra specific.
Yeah.
And you might be familiar with Auspex Scan. So what you can do with this is at the end of the reinforcement step of your opponent's turn, one Hydra model in your army can immediately shoot an aircraft that's arrived from reserves.
Oh, so like those horrible Tau bombers that come on,
Yes.
bomb you and fly off. When they want to come back on again, you can go, my turn.
It's 1 CP, and then you shoot it,
Yeah.
which is it's very cool.
Okay,
it's very cool.
Yeah.
Then Shield of Flesh.
Yeah.
So if you are being shot at, you have an infantry unit, and they're within 3 inches of a friendly Ogrins unit, and the Ogrins are closer to the attacking unit.
Yeah.
-1 to hit,
Okay, cool.
because they're in the way.
Right. Does anything happen to the Ogrins if they get hit?
No, they're just like,
We're just in the way. They're basically becoming a tree for the
Yeah.
turn.
yeah. You can't do it on the bodyguard Ogrin that's in the command squad.
Right, sure. Has to be an actual Ogrin unit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mount up, very cool. So mechanized or Militarum Tempestus infantry unit has shot.
Yeah.
You can then, if every model in the unit is within 3 inches of a transport,
Yeah.
and that unit can actually get in that transport as per the keyword requirements,
Yeah, of course.
you
Yeah.
can immediately embark.
Right. Now, is this the one
Yeah.
that allows you to move, get out of your transport, shoot, and then you can get back in?
That's right.
Oh dear.
So mechanized is the one where you can get out after your transport's moved, and then you could spend 2 CP here and just get back in after you've fired.
Wow.
It's pretty good. It's pretty cool. But again, like you say, it's building towards your regiment doctrine and that specific play style. It's very, very cool. But it is 2 CP, so it's quite expensive.
Yeah, it's good though.
It is good.
That's really
It is
good.
Yeah, it's very good. Overcharged las cells. This is Kassakin and Militarum Tempestus only, because they're the guys with the hotshot las guns. And then their unmodified wound roll of a 6 with a hotshot weapon. Inflicts 1 mortal wound in addition to normal damage.
Yeah.
An enemy unit can only suffer a maximum of 6 mortal wounds from this.
So what I'm doing, Michael, is I'm moving up, I'm getting out, I'm using that stratagem first.
Look,
doing
these are some
mortal wounds.
combos that you're spoiling for our audience.
Sorry.
He's getting excited.
I'm actually excited about playing Guard, but I never thought I'd say it.
It's pretty cool. It's really cool. As you say, there are a lot of tricks. You get up, get out, spend some strats, get back in.
Now, if any of you at home would like to donate me a Guard army, so I can take it to the next GT, please, get in touch, because I'm keen.
Yeah.
I'm going in.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And then, of course, remember there's a strat where you can do extra AP as well.
You know this Kassakin I said you could have?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want them back.
We have smoke launchers, -1 to hit on a smoke unit when it's targeted. Ablative plating. Now this you want to save CP up for.
Okay.
So when a battle tank or armoured, so that's the keyword from the war gear, etc., is selected as the target of an attack, -1 to the damage.
Ooh, that's pretty strong, isn't it?
-1 damage on one of your tanks.
That's 2 or 3 CPs depending on the type.
That's right. So if it's a Rogue or Dawn or a super heavy, it's 3 CPs.
Okay,
But otherwise 2. And it works in combat as well.
Okay, good. Yeah, nice.
Then we've got Melter Mine. So this is if you've got the Melter Mine keyword and you hit a vehicle or monster on a 2 to 5, it's D3 plus 1 mortal wounds. On a 6, it's 2D3 mortal wounds.
Strong.
So yeah, if you charge Sly Marbo and you don't kill him, you could potentially take 4D3 mortal wounds from him.
Yeah.
With the 2 strats, the traps and then the Melter Mine.
I think I'm definitely doing that combo, yeah.
That's pretty cool. And that is the stratagems. We have tank aces next.
Okay.
We're going to upgrade all of our tanks.
So this is our paid upgrades.
That's right.
And we've seen this before in other books that we've had. Okay, so are there any sort of limitations as who you can upgrade? Or can you upgrade any tank? Can I upgrade a Chimera, a Hellhound? What are the rules?
So you have to upgrade a battle tank keyword, which is your Russes or your Rogal Dawn.
Okay.
Or a super heavy. That's right. So tank aces can be put on super heavy tanks.
Okay. And there's difference in points depending on the style and type.
Yeah. If it's a super heavy, obviously it's going to cost more to put that on there because they've got a lot more guns.
Okay.
You can't take the same one twice.
Okay. Yeah.
And you can only take one on each particular tank.
Right. Cool.
Which makes complete sense.
Right. Let's go through them.
All right. We've got Vaunted Praetorian.
Yep.
This one you can only put on a super heavy or a Rogal Dawn.
Yep.
And they get the officer keyword and no mechanized orders. They can issue 1 order, and if you've chosen to give this to a Titanic, a super heavy model, they can issue orders to other Titanic models.
Or itself?
Or itself, because it's Titanic.
Okay, so orders are kind of really unique to obviously the Guard, and there's different types of orders.
That's right.
Depending on, and obviously we're already giving some of this away here.
Yeah.
But we're going to do an entire section obviously for you on orders, how they work, because that's probably the biggest fundamental thing about this book.
Yeah.
When we start to think about like their super doctrine, if they had one, it would be their orders in their order mechanic, and I think that's really cool. So, all right, like that. So basically, one of your tanks can start dishing out orders.
Yeah, definitely worth looking at.
Yeah.
If you wanted to run 3 big Titanic vehicles, you'd probably put this on one of them so you could order them around.
Yeah.
We then have Meticulous Calibrator. Very straightforward. Their ranged attacks ignore the benefits of cover.
Okay, cool.
So no dents against it, no light cover.
That's really strong.
Very strong.
Especially when you're kind of like a ballistic skill 4 army.
Yes.
Being able to ignore dense terrain is great, yeah.
We'll get on to that though later.
Okay, cool, yeah. No spoilers. And the great thing here is I'm actually like kind of similar to you back home right now. I don't know anything about the Guard. And all these little combos and stuff are coming from a point of general interest.
Yeah, exactly. This is not scripted.
No.
Steve's thinking of these off the top of his head because I've read this book.
Yeah.
And then he's obviously, you've seen he's come up with this combo and I'm like, stop Steve, that's one of the combos.
Yeah. We should probably talk more about what content we're going to release. Anyway, so, okay, what's next?
Mechanical Pack Rat. Okay. So you can't wound this guy on anything better than a 4.
Right. So transhuman for a tank.
Transhuman for a tank, not bad against like hammerheads or las cannons, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Veteran Commandeer. So when you add the model to your army, you can pick one of the Regimental Doctrines that your army doesn't have, that nobody in your army has, and they gain that doctrine in addition to the ones that you picked. And there are some solid options for that, which, again, no spoilers.
Right, yeah.
Knight of Piety, 5+ invulnerable save.
Yeah.
And a 5+ shrug or feel no pain if you suffer a mortal wound.
That's really good, yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's really good.
And then we've got Master Camouflage. If you're being shot and you're more than 12 inches away, then you get light cover.
Okay.
But if you're Titanic, then they have to be 18 inches away.
Okay, that's good, yep.
Light cover, Lehman Russes have a 2-up save now. So getting light cover is pretty significant.
Yeah. And there's one more, I believe?
There is, yes. Steel Commissar.
Okay.
So this reflects the idea that a Commissar is now in this tank. They get Prefectus orders, which are the Commissar-specific ones.
Okay.
You get the Officer keyword, and you can issue 1 Prefectus order in addition to 1 mechanized order.
That's cool. I really like that, yeah.
And then, yes, and this only goes on an officer. So you can only put this on a tank commander, basically.
Okay, right.
You can't just put it on any tank.
Yeah.
But when you choose a Prefectus order, you can give it to infantry officers or abhuman units. But the Regimental Tactics ability, which we'll explain later, where you can spread orders, doesn't apply in that case.
Okay.
Okay, and that is actually a Commissar rule, is that they can give it to certain people.
Right, okay, cool. Nice.
That is the tank aces. If you took a squadron of 3 different tanks, you could upgrade individual Lehman Russes.
Okay, yeah.
So it's not like 1 per squadron.
Yeah.
You can do individual tanks.
Right, and just a quick one on Lehman Russes at this point. You can take them in squadrons still,
That's right.
but they operate as individual.
That's right. Once you've set them up, they're separate units.
Okay, cool. Nice. Okay, Michael, so we're at the Psychic Discipline now. What's it called and what have we got option-wise?
So it's the Psykana Discipline, and I have to ask Steve, before reading this, do you think you'd take a Psyker in this army?
They're not known for their, psychic prowess, are they?
Right, well, I'm going to ask you again in a minute.
Okay.
So the first one is Terrifying Visions.
Yeah.
This is -2 leadership. You can't use like the auto-pass morale strat on that unit. It's okay. We then have Gaze of the Emperor, which does mortal wounds in a line.
Like a beam of mortal wounds?
Beam of mortal wounds.
Okay.
Then Psychic Barrier, which gives a Astra Militarum unit a 5+ invulnerable save.
Oh, that's nice. Any unit?
Any unit. Okay. Any unit. 5 invuln.
Okay.
Night Shroud, which means they cannot be hit on anything better than a 4. What we call trans-hitman in the business. And that is a Warp Charge 6, and you can only put it on a Titanic unit if you cast it on an 11 or more.
Right.
But you could put it on anything.
Like Rough Riders?
Like Rough Riders.
Okay, because Rough Riders do like to roll.
I do think I'll probably put it on my Rough Riders, yes.
Okay.
So there's that one. Then there's another one. This is on an enemy unit. It's a Malediction. And you -2 to their movement characteristic.
Right.
And -2 from their advance and charge rolls.
What's the range on that one?
18.
Okay. All right.
It's not bad.
Okay.
Not bad.
Yeah. Okay, good.
And then we've got Maelstrom, which you roll a number of dice, and then you do mortal wounds on a certain result, essentially, to a maximum of 6 mortal wounds.
So, yes, is the answer. I'm taking one.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go for the 5+ invuln.
Yep.
And the Shroud, Night Shroud.
Yep.
And Mental Shackles.
Yes.
And I'm going to probably do the thing where I can get my Psyker out after disembarking out of a transport, get within 18 and go, ha! You ain't moving.
Yeah.
-2 off that.
Those are my top 3 picks as well.
Oh, wow.
And there's some cheeky combos we can do later. But that's all the Psychic. That's it. All 6. The only Psychers in the book are the Primaris Psyker, who is a unit on his own.
Okay.
He's a character. And the Astropath now joins a command squad.
Okay, cool.
So he's an attached unit.
Okay, cool. So, Michael, Warlord Traits, what are they?
All right. So the first one is Frontline Combatant.
Now, just to clarify, this is strictly for your Imperial Guard, Astra Militarum,
That's right.
Warlord Traits, and there are Militarum.
Yes.
There are Militarum Tempesta Warlord Traits as well.
There are, yes. There's
That's
three,
a mouthful.
There's 3 Tempestus Warlord Traits as
We've
well.
got 6 and 3.
6 and 3, and then specific guys come with specific. So if they're named, then they get a specific one, and I'll mention it as it comes up.
All right, then.
So we have Frontline Combatant. This is Iron Hand Straken's Warlord Trait.
Okay.
And their unmodified hit rolls of 6 in melee score 2 additional hits.
Okay, exploding hits for doubles.
Yes, and then you add 1 to his wound roll as well.
Okay.
So on Strachan, that's actually pretty nasty. And then we have Master Tactician. This one is Creed's ability, and this is after you've both deployed, you pick up to 3 of your units, and you can redeploy them, or you can put them in Strat Reserve for free.
Taking this one.
I'm taking this one.
Absolutely taking this one.
We're all taking this one.
Straight in the basket.
Yes.
1 CP.
Absolutely fantastic. Then we have Grand Strategist, and this is Leontus's one, so the Lord Solar's one, and you get a CP back on 5s when you spend stratagems.
Okay.
It's okay. I think I'll probably take it, just because I feel like Leontus has the stat line to stick around.
Each time you use a command point. Okay, so it's only when you, not you and your opponent, just you.
Yeah, just you.
Okay.
I'll try it out, we'll see.
Yeah. As long as it nets back at least 1 over the course of the game, it was worth taking.
Yeah.
And I think you're probably better off just kind of, I think, to work out how many command points you're going to roll in a battle in a entire game. Roll it out, and as long as you do that 3 times and you get a 5 each time, then it's worth it.
Agreed.
If you don't, then I probably wouldn't. Because I think the stratagems are too good to waste any kind of ones from here already that are like kind of okay Warlord Trait or kind of okay Relic. Don't take it, save it for your strats, because your strats are so good.
So this one, Leontus gives you a CP back potentially at the start of the game, so that might be one thing that offsets taking it. Superior Tactical Training. So they can know orders from a different tree.
We'll find out how relevant that is
Yeah.
when we cover the orders later, yeah.
Yeah. And then we've got Old Grudges.
Yep.
So you start the first battle round, you pick one enemy unit. Until the end of the battle, your Warlord has a 6-inch aura of +1 to wound for your platoon, battle tank, and squadron units.
+1 to wound on battle tanks is good, isn't it?
It's pretty good against, let's say, I don't know, 10 Terminators, which seem to be quite popular at the moment.
Yeah.
But yes, picks one enemy unit.
Is this ranged and combat?
So this is any.
Great.
+1 to wound.
Really strong, that one.
Yeah.
Probably taking that.
Yeah, definitely worth a look. And then we have lead by example. You can issue orders to your own unit, even though you normally cannot select officer units when issuing orders.
Okay.
So it's okay. And this is the one that Commissar Gaunt gets.
Right.
Because he's got quite a big unit.
Okay.
We then have the Tempestus ones. We've got Drill Commander, so you double the number of attacks for your rapid fire weapons.
Okay.
Cool. I can see that synergizing with
Some of the strats as well.
Yeah, and Militarum Tempestus have a rule on their datasheet where their 6s explode anyway.
Right.
So they get an additional hit on their 6s.
Do they have the one that allows them to do 6s, do mortals?
Yes, they've got that too.
So combining that with exploding 6s and then 6s do mortals is very strong.
Yes, although I should mention, you don't get, it's not, I haven't said it properly, but basically your rapid fire, instead of half range, you get the double shots. You just always get the double shots.
Oh, okay.
So it's instead of your normal rapid fire.
Right.
So you wouldn't get more shots, you just get more at range.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Precision targeting. So you basically have a 6-inch aura of ignores cover.
Okay, it's all right.
It's quite cool. And then another 6-inch aura for an extra AP if you're at half range.
Now, I want to quickly touch on this now. Tempestus Scions.
Yes.
Do they get born warriors or anything like that?
No.
So they don't get any of those special rules that we mentioned earlier.
No.
But they get an inbuilt rule
Yes.
on their datasheet instead.
Yes.
So that's kind of their special thing, but it's already inbuilt.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly. They still deep strike and all that goodness.
Cool. Okay, cool.
And then that's it for Warlord Traits.
Okay. So Relics up next then, Michael. How many have we got to pick from?
There's quite a few actually. There's 3 pages of Relics.
Wow.
So we'll just go through really quickly. We've got the Emperor's Benediction, which is a Commissar bolt pistol.
Okay.
We've got, you can issue an additional order.
Okay.
We have 4-up invuln on an infantry unit.
That's very good. Especially if you can put that on your sergeant, it gives it to the unit then.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'll double check that
If it's one of the, because I'm sure when it comes to the stratagem, it tells you which one it can basically have.
No, rightly so.
Okay.
Or else I'd have put that on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been a bit much.
Good to check now though, because obviously you may at home be thinking, oh, I'll put that on a unit. So obviously I can kind of come up with these, I can try and break it, and you can tell me if I can and can't do it.
Yeah.
That's good, I like it.
We have the Barbicant's Key,
Yeah.
which you can put on a sergeant. And this is basically once per battle, you can remove the unit from the table and then put them back on the table elsewhere.
As a deep strike or, yeah.
So as a deep strike, and you can reroll charges for that unit.
That's really good.
So it's quite cool, and you can give it to a sergeant.
Give that to my Rough Riders.
Unfortunately, it's infantry only.
Shame, see?
And a
Just
lot
trying
of
to
these
break it
actually
for
are.
you.
Yeah, it would have been great. It
Yeah.
would have been great. But it's still very useful for doing actions, some of your secondaries,
Yeah.
definitely worth looking at. Kurov's Aquila, I probably will put this in my list.
Okay.
So once per battle, after your opponent uses a stratagem, you can activate the relic, and then future uses of that stratagem cost an extra CP.
Absolutely going in.
It's so... It's deadly.
Yeah, that's going in.
We've talked in members content about one of your lists recently, which has the Kotias in it.
Yeah.
And he manipulates command points. So you've got the potential here of having him and this, and then really, really hurting your opponent's command points. And if you really wanted to go overboard, you could stick a Calidus Assassin in and just make it really silly. But this, I think, is an auto take. Anyway, you can manipulate CP.
When you say silly, I'm hearing greatness.
Yeah.
Okay. It might just be crazy enough it will work.
Yeah.
I think you definitely put those 3 things in.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's very, very cool.
Okay.
We have Gatekeeper, which is a buffed AP, buffed strength battle cannon.
Okay. So like not a tank commander.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
We have the Relic of Lost Cadia. So this is Cadian model only. And then it's once per battle. You can use it. And then while Cadian infantry units are within 6, their weapon skill and their attacks and leadership gets increased by 1.
Okay. And
so they're better in combat.
Improve their weapon skill,
and their
ballistic skill. Yeah.
Yeah, so they can hit better as well.
That's really nice. If you really are leaning into the Cadian sort of troop units, that could be okay. All right.
Then we have Order of the Bastium Stellaris. This basically means your unit cannot be wounded on anything better than a 4.
Okay.
So not bad for like a command squad or something.
Can we put that on a unit? Any time we can take a rule, I think, and we can really, like, you can't be wounded on a 1 to 4 or something, and we can put that on an entire unit. It's very strong.
No, we can't.
Shame.
So the only ones we can take is the teleport thing we've mentioned, the Relic of Loscadia, and then a bunch of weapons.
Okay.
One of which, we've got another one here, Legacy of Caladius. This is a special chainsword. 3 extra attacks, AP2 damage too.
Kind of like a Teeth of Terror.
It's basically Teeth of Terror, but for guard.
All right.
Psi Sigil, I like this one. So your Psycho model only, knows an additional power, can cast an additional power.
And how many do they normally cast?
2 on a Primaris Psyker. So now you can do all 3 of the powers that you want to do.
Right, I'm taking that one.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. We then have the Armour of Graf Tashenko, +1 to your wounds, 2 plus armour.
Okay.
It's okay. Laurels of Command, this one I will be taking, because I think it's very, very tricky.
Go on then.
So officer model only, once per battle at the start of any phase in your opponent's turn, the bearer can issue 1 order it knows as if it were your command phase. Can't be an order that's already been issued this battle round.
Okay.
But the options are, and we'll go through what these are later, essentially, but there's several options here. We've got fixed bayonets, take cover at all costs, show them steel, show them contempt, remain vigilant, shock and awe. These are defensive buffs usually, but there are some orders in there that give your units objectives secured.
Ah, right.
So being able to once per battle...
We'll cover that later then, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of the tricks. The Claw of the Desert Tigers is back. And it's basically what it used to be. It's a power sword, becomes damage 2, and 2 extra attacks. The Clarion Proclamatus. So when you have a command squad with a Vox in it, and you issue an order, you can ignore the range restriction for that order. So you've basically got unlimited range on it, provided you pick a Vox caster unit that you're casting on, that you're giving an order to.
Okay.
So unlimited range orders. Then we have the Finial of the Nemradesh first. You have an aura for a banner in your command squad. And each time you make a ranged attack in that aura, if you're core, you ignore any or all modifiers to your attack's hit roll. And if that attack is allocated to an enemy model, they cannot use rules to ignore the wounds they've lost.
Right, so they can't use like a feel no pain or anything?
No, and they can't use their wound cap either.
Ooh.
So this could be really powerful. We're going into combos now, but that could be quite powerful with things like Kassakin, where they do have some good damage output. So you can definitely see there are infantry builds in here that are powerful, and just as powerful as some of the tank builds might be.
Oh, was that the Nightbringer, you say?
Oh.
He's dead.
He's dead.
He's dead.
I'll just get back in my vehicle afterwards as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Null Coat. So Tempestal Prime or Commissar, you get a deny and you get +1 denies.
Yep, okay.
Emperor's Fury is a special plasma pistol.
Okay.
It is quite good, but again, it's just a special pistol. And then we've got a Refractor Shield Generator for a Tempestal Prime, and it's an aura of 5-up Invuln within 6 inches for your Scions.
Okay, that's all right. Yeah.
That's all right.
If you're going to lean into those, I like it. Yeah. I think there's some really nice tactical nuance, and obviously, as you're probably familiar with the channel, and if you're not familiar, we do try to look at the things that are really interesting to help you either play the mission a little bit better, give you tools in your toolbox, so that if you do go to a tournament, then you can take on anyone.
Exactly.
We want well-balanced army lists, and that's the kind of the advice we've been giving you here, is some of the strong combos to really make your army work, but then also some of those tactical nuances and some flexibility picks, which I really like. And I can't believe I'm even saying this. I'm actually kind of wanted to play Guard, and I actually hate Guard as an army. It's not for me.
I'm surprised there's so much enthusiasm coming out of Steve right now, because he usually finds Guard really boring.
You know, when you were like, can we do this army codex? I was like, oh, go on if we have to.
But they're quite dynamic. They're quite different. And there's multiple different builds. You know, you can have artillery builds, infantry builds, tank builds, and it all works.
Yeah.
And there's horses too.
These are some of the best stratagems I've ever seen in a codex.
Yeah.
In terms of, not that they're broken,
no,
but I'm loving it. Go on, we'll keep going.
Yeah, they're all useful. You can use them on multiple different things, and I think that's what's great about them.
Okay. So Turret weapons.
Yeah,
We're now onto the data sheets.
we are, yeah.
How do turret weapons work?
Okay, so you just get +1 to hit with turret weapons. That's just a flat rule.
All the time?
All the time.
So if I'm ballistic skill 4,
Yes.
my turret hits on a 3.
That's right.
That's really good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But it does mean that if your opponent maybe has multiple minuses to hit, it will push you back to something like a 5.
Right, sure.
But that's a nuance that we sort of would talk about on the academy and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then we also have a rule where you can fire your turret weapon, even though you're engaged, at other enemy units, the ones that aren't in combat with you.
So you can never literally be wrapped and trapped?
Essentially, no. You can always shoot a different target.
Or you could just shoot another unit of infantry that's in combat or something.
You take, yeah. However, you are at -1 to hit with it. Okay. So you will be back to hit on 4s, basically.
Right.
Unless, of course, you're bracketed. That is turret weapons.
Okay.
And what I should add is not all turret weapons are obvious. Do check the rules in the data sheets, because things like a shadow sword, that is a turret weapon, the main weapon. Okay. Even though usually we're used to a turret being a thing that turns, it isn't on some of the units that have got it.
And it will say on there...
And it will say exactly, so just after your weapon type and the damage, etc.
So what I'm getting from you is not all turret weapons are made equally.
That's right.
All right. Okay, what's next?
We have the Regimental Tactics is next.
Okay.
This is the thing you get if every model from your army has the Astra Militarum keyword, except Agents of the Imperium and Underlined.
So this is our, the thing you get for staying pure without souping in other units, like Grey Knights or anything weird like that.
Yeah.
Okay, what is it then?
So, each time you issue a regimental or prefectus order, so that's your commissars or your normal general's orders, when you issue it to a unit, you can then choose one or more other units, so in this case, platoon units, within 6 inches of the initial unit, and they get it as well.
Right, so I'm ordering this unit to, let's say, move, and then I can basically then give that to all the others.
That's right, yeah, provided they're all within 6 inches of the first unit.
Right, cool. Yeah. So it's like a chain reaction of things.
Exactly, yeah. So what you could do is have a command squad with a Voxcaster.
Yeah.
Issue the order to one unit that's 24 inches away, because they've got a Voxcaster.
Yeah.
And then 3 other units that are next to that unit will also get that order.
Okay, cool.
We then have the same thing, sort of, but with mechanized orders, that's your tank orders.
Yeah.
And this one affects other squadron units within 6 inches of the original target.
Okay. All right.
What you can do there is obviously you can issue it to a tank, and then any other squadron units within 6 can get it as well.
That's good.
And there's no limit. There's no limit to
That's great.
how many can get it. So obviously you lose that if you do the souping or you add a different faction in. Voice of command is the next one. This basically explains how orders work.
Okay.
So we'll probably do a video focused on orders, but essentially your commissar and generals do it at 6 inches, but your tank commanders do it at 12, or just your mechanized orders are 12 inches.
Yeah. And you mentioned about a Voxcaster. What does that do?
So your Voxcaster lets you issue an order to a squad that's further away. So normally your order range is like 6 inches, but with a Voxcaster you can do it to a unit that's 24 inches away.
Right.
Provided you've got a Vox in your unit and they've got a Vox in theirs.
And it will say on your data sheet
exactly
who's got a Vox and who hasn't.
And it will be a Voxcaster keyword.
Okay.
So if you take one, then you'll have that keyword. When you disembark officers, there's special rules about doing an order when you disembark.
So when does normally an order happen? In the command phase?
That's right, yeah. In the command phase, you do your orders.
But if you disembark, you can then do an order?
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which is really cool, really cool. If you issue more than one order to the same unit, then the last order that you've done overrides their first order.
Okay, cool.
Which leads to some very technical order ideas, which I will cover in videos.
Yeah, nice.
Because there's some real cool tricks. So we have the orders.
Yep.
Regimental, this is going to be your platoon commanders, your Castellans, Creed, etc. And there's a few exceptions. Leontus knows all of them. So regimental, we've got 1 to improve the number of shots you've got in your las guns. And
when somebody knows an order, they know all of them.
That's right, yeah. So you can issue orders from this discipline, essentially.
Okay.
So with the regimental orders, we can increase the number of shots with our las guns, provided we stand still, essentially, because they become heavy.
Yep.
We've got 1 to add 1 to your ballistic skill and to your hit roll.
Yep.
And to your armor penetration.
So +1 to hit, +1 AP.
That's right.
Really good.
At ranged, then there's 1 fixed bayonets, which does exactly the same thing, but for melee.
Okay, cool.
So +1 to hit in melee, +1 AP in melee. Take cover, so you gain light cover.
Okay.
And if you're in light cover already, you get dense.
You get dense cover.
Yeah.
Not you don't become, really thick.
Yeah.
Make that clear.
We got move. If they make a normal move, you add 2 to their move characteristic.
Yep.
If they advance, you just do flat 6 instead of rolling.
Okay.
So you can make your units more mobile.
So that's move.
Yep, it's not a double move like it used to be, so it's not quite that silly.
Okay.
Suppression fire, if you shoot all your weapons at one enemy unit and you get 5 or more hits, they're -1 to hit until your next command phase.
They're -1 to hit.
They are -1 to hit.
So they become dense.
They become dense, yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
Perfectus orders, this is your commissar ones. You can count as stationary after making normal move or advancing.
Mm-hmm.
You can fall back and action, or you can advance an action, or you can shoot an action.
That's really good.
So there's a one for actions, definitely worth looking at.
Yep.
Get back in the fight, so we can charge or shoot after falling back,
Okay.
which is great for something like Rough Riders.
Okay, and you can put any of these regimental orders or any of these prefector orders on any of your kind of core units?
Yeah, so the regimental and prefectors can go on platoon
Okay.
units. That will basically include pretty much all the infantry,
Yeah.
but it also includes Rough Riders and Sentinels.
Right.
Sentinels do have the platoon keyword.
Okay.
Your heavy weapon teams as well.
Yeah.
So you can give it to them. Prefectus orders, you can do the same, except the commissars can give it to infantry officers, and they can give it to abhumans, so ogrins.
Okay, so you can give fallback and charge to ogrins.
Yeah.
That's really good.
It is good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very good. But normally the officer units don't have squadron or platoon or anything, so you can't issue it to like other officers.
Can you give regimental orders to ogrins?
No.
Because they're not part of the regiment.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Unless you have a special.
So I think there's now a real reason to take some of these commissars, because before you never saw them.
No.
So I think now, okay, so sorry I've kind of interrupted you,
right.
but I think it's just really nice to clear up who can actually get
Yeah.
the benefits of these orders.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've gone for get back in the fight. What's next?
At all costs, this is the best one, in my opinion. And this is you gain objective secured until the end of your next command phase. And if you already have objective secured, you count as an additional model. So you can suddenly, with your commissar, make your ogrins potentially objective secured. Or you can make Rough Riders objective secured.
Yeah.
Even Sentinels with this.
Yeah, I'm seeing so many stacks and combos already.
There are a lot.
Okay, what's next?
So we have +1 leadership and 5 up feel no pain against mortal wounds.
Okay.
It's not bad if you know you're going to get smited. If you want to tank some smites.
Well, it's great when you know that unit, because the way smite works, a lot of these psychic powers, has to affect the closest unit.
Yeah.
So you could put unit Sentinels, 5+ feel no pain, chuck them forward, and then they're just going to eat up all the smites to stop your Rough Riders and those other things just behind it from getting damaged. So I do like that. I think that's nice, yeah.
And then our last one, this is quite cool.
Yeah.
Remain vigilant. So you give it to a unit, and until the start of your next command phase, enemy units cannot be set up within 12 of that unit.
Okay.
And you can hold steady if you're charged for the 5-up Overwatch rather than a 6-up Overwatch. So not bad, good for screening things out. I like this if you've got extra orders. We'll talk order tactics another time. It's a whole new video because there's a lot of depth here.
And we'll make this all members content. Those real like kind of meta, high-end tactical beats, they will become members content, so you can check those out. And we release members content. We do 2 videos every single week for you. And they normally drop on a Friday. Yep. Sometimes we move to a Saturday so that we can always include the most recent releases for you like this. Yep. So no doubt if you're watching this, we already have some members content on the way for Guard for you.
Mechanized orders. These are your tank orders. Now, it is important to cover who these can go to. These can go to squadron units. This is most of the vehicles in the book.
Can be in a squadron.
Can be, well, not, so it's a bit weird. They're not in a squadron necessarily, but they have this keyword. So we've discussed Leman Russes being in 1 to 3 as a unit, but things like a Chimera is a 1 choice only.
Right.
Basilisk is now just a 1 choice only.
Okay.
But they do have the squadron keyword.
Okay, so it's not, okay, I get it. Yeah. So what if I took then 1 Leman Russ, I'm still a squadron?
Yes, you still have the squadron keyword.
Got it, cool.
So it's like, so squadron keyword on pretty much every tank. It's not on the big guys, the Titanic ones. It is on Rogue or Dawn tanks.
No, it's not.
It is on Rogue or Dawn tanks, yeah.
Wow. Well, let's see how powerful these are then.
Yeah, and funnily enough, squadron is also on Sentinels. So they have both sets of orders available to them.
Right.
But they're the only unit in the book that does.
Okay.
So pound them to dust, personal favourite here. Each time you shoot, for the purpose of determining how many enemy models there are for blast, you double the number in the enemy unit. There are some insane tactical things you can do with this.
Because there's actually now a lot of units cropping up at strength 6.
Yes.
Which makes this so powerful because you're going to push that over to that 11 mark, which then you're just going to get maximum efficiency.
And remember, if you're running pure guard, you can spread this order around. You issue it to one tank, and then the other 6 that are within 6 inches of it get it as well. That unit is dead. That unit you shoot at is dead. Full throttle. Add 2 to your movement characteristic.
Okay.
Until the end of your next shooting phase. If you advance, you count as stationary.
That's really nice.
You can have super fast tanks.
Okay.
Super fast tanks.
Gross.
Gunners kill on sight, reroll 1s to hit with shooting.
Okay, yep.
Straightforward. Blitz them, +1 to your charge rolls. And then each time you make a charge, you roll a dice for each one of your models in engagement range with the enemy. And on a 4+, you do D3 mortal wounds to the enemy unit.
Yep.
If you've got Dozer Blade, which is a pointed upgrade, gives you the keyword, you get +1 to that.
Okay, cool.
So this is a nice way of just doing a bunch of mortal wounds, especially in a phase that you can't normally hurt people in.
Yeah.
Shock and awe, objective secured. Give the unit objective secured.
That's really good, especially when you start combining that with the thing where your vehicles count as like 5 models, whatever.
Exactly. I should also mention, I haven't already, you cannot stack more than one order.
Okay.
You can't have the effects of multiple orders at once. The one that you issued to them last, as I said, replaces the first one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what I'd suggest you do if you're at home is get some little tokens or something, because I think there's going to be so many different orders.
Yeah.
And the command phase is going to take quite a while for the guard player. So make this really easy for your opponent, okay? It's nothing worse when you're trying to play against an army. You might know what order's got what, but please, please, please make that easily known for your opponent to give your opponent the best playing experience possible against you and to not feel like they're being gotcha momented. Because I think this could be, you know, Michael's going to know the guard inside out, but I'm not going to if I'm his opponent. And it's your job to help your opponent understand your rules clearly and concisely. So do use tokens and make it very well known what they do, okay?
Yep, definitely agree with that. What you can do even is colour code them as well. Because some of them are defensive buffs, some aren't. So the defensive ones are the most important ones because obviously your opponent needs to know. Like if I've got a tank that's OBSEC, you need to know that that tank is OBSEC.
Or if this unit's got
light cover or something.
The light cover, or I can't set up within 12 of it. Yeah. Okay, nice.
The last order is pinning fire. This one's great. So in your next shooting phase, you have to select one enemy unit that's visible, and you have to only fire your weapons at that one. And then if you get 5 or more hits, they have -2 to their movement.
You what?
Yes, that's right.
So they can be -2 to move, and then you put the psychic power on them.
Yes.
For another -2 to move. So you know that really powerful brick of 10 Terminators?
Yes.
It's moving an inch.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, exactly. And that is one of the combos that you're probably trying to pull off, if you can.
Okay. I think they all sound disgusting.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. The order system is
really
complex, but I think very rewarding once you get the hang of it.
I like the fact that all the guys just know everything. So you don't need to worry about this person knows this order and this person knows that one. It's really clean and simple, but you just need to help your opponent understand what they are and what units they're going on.
Yeah.
Or make it really clear, hey, this turn, everybody's re-rolling 1s because we're all going to have, you know, re-roll 1s to hit gunners kill on sight. Or which, you know, all the tanks going to have objectives secured. Make it simple.
Look, please, when you say I'm going to give these guys this order, don't see the name of the order, just tell them what it does. It's a lot simpler. Because I'm going to go, right, these guys are going to have full throttle.
Cool.
These guys are going to have blitz them.
And they're going to have hop, skip, and a jump.
They're going to have hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. That's all of the orders. Very good stuff. And the rest of the book pretty much is data sheets.
I can't wait. So onto the data sheets. Now, there are quite a lot here.
There are.
So what we're going to do to make this concise as possible for you, we're going to pick out the key units in this book, and maybe we're going to talk about some units Michael's really looking forward to running, but we will make sure we cover all the standout units and especially some of the new units so that you're going to be really familiar with them. I'm assuming on the whole, though, most units now have had a bit of a glow up in terms of their AP or their damage or just their reliability.
Yeah, they have definitely. Yeah.
So, and maybe even their durability as well. So let's take a look at Lord Solar first of all.
Yeah. So Leontus is here. He is riding a horse, so he's quite a fast guy. 8 wounds.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
look out, sir, protected. He's got a pretty good pistol, damage 3, and he's got a good sword as well.
He's very good in combat.
He's pretty good in combat.
And he's also a supreme commander.
Yes,
Does he have to be the Warlord?
he does.
And he's got an invulnerable save, and he halves all damage.
That's right.
And you can, with him, I actually read this guy.
Yeah.
Let me correct me if I'm wrong. I can re-pick the secondary objective.
Yes, that's right.
And if I don't re-pick my secondary, I gain a CP instead.
Yes, in the first command phase.
Amazing. Yeah. And I give reroll hits of 1 to core.
And wounds of 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm basically Morvian Val.
Yes.
And I can also pick a unit.
Yeah.
And this also includes core and battle tanks.
Yeah, so for core or character,
okay,
you can give them full rerolls to hit and wound.
Yeah.
But if they are not core,
yeah,
you only get the full rerolls to hit.
Right, okay.
So let me reiterate. So if they're character or a battle tank, basically,
yeah,
you don't get rerolls to hit.
What about Ogrin?
Being really unclear here. So you can choose an Astra core, character, or battle tank unit.
Yeah.
They get rerolls to hit.
Yeah.
If they're core, they get rerolls to wound as well.
Right, so they get rerolled hit and wound if they've got the core keyword.
That's right, yeah.
All right.
Ogrin, I will double check for you.
Do they have the Astra Militarum? They must do, surely.
They will do, but do they have core is the question. They do not have core.
They just reroll hits then, but not hits and wounds.
So you can't actually issue the order to them because they're not core.
Oh, right, so they have to have the...
Yeah, it has to be core, character, or battle tank.
Right, okay, I'm with you. Cool.
And battle tank includes the Rogel Dawn and Lehman Rosses.
Strong. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm with it.
So, very good, and that's in the command phase.
He's an auto-include, in my opinion.
He is, especially with this next part, so he knows all of the order trees.
Yeah.
And he can issue 3.
Wow.
And in addition to the normal rules, he can choose infantry officer and militarum auxiliary units to issue the prefectus and regimental orders to. So that's your Ogrins, etc., and any other auxilia.
Yeah.
He can also issue a mechanized order to vehicle officer, so tank commanders, or super heavy units.
He's busted.
If you're taking a super heavy, you're taking Leontus, because he can give you super heavy reroll ones to hit.
He's
Give
busted.
them count blast as double. Can you imagine just getting full 18 shots with the Baneblade cannon because you've given it count them as double for blast?
Wow.
It's he is incredible.
Yeah. I love the model as well.
I'm a fan of the model as well. I've converted my own up just that we can show it off in games, but
yeah.
I do like the new model.
Yeah, love it. I think it's great.
So that's Leontus.
Great, cool.
You're taking him.
So Ursula Creed, she's obviously new.
Yeah.
Anything remotely special about her, would you say?
You can use a CP reroll twice per phase instead of normally just once.
Okay.
Might be good for how many shots you get on your weapons. And she also has +1 to the strength of your range attacks if you've had an order issued to you by her.
Okay.
Which is not bad. And she does 3 orders.
So there's 3 orders, +1 strength. Okay, cool. So like your hotshot lasgunners, you could bump them up a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, nice. And she gives a rerolls 1.
That's right, yeah. So she gives an aura of reroll hit rolls of 1.
Okay, cool. How many models can you put in a Chimera?
12.
Put 12. So I could put her in there with a unit of Kassakin.
That's right.
And then I can move,
Yep.
disembark with her, and then I can issue the order.
Yep, that's right.
Because I've just disembarked.
Yes.
And then I can give this unit of Kassakin +1 strength, rerolls hits.
That's right.
Yeah, of 1, and then some other sort of thing like ignore cover, or like +1 AP or whatever, or +1 weapon skill.
Yeah.
And then use all the strats.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's pretty good.
Straight in my basket.
It is important to mention that Leontus gets the regimental keyword, so he gets benefits from your doctrines.
Okay.
So does Creed.
Okay.
So whichever ones you choose, you benefit from. So she will get, if you chose to get out of your vehicle, she would still get that. There's a Cadian Castellan, which is just a commander on his own.
Okay.
2 orders. Tank commander, it's pretty much the same as usual. I will say this, but it's skill 4+. There used to be 3+. The 4+, obviously turret weapons helps.
Yeah.
It's just a Lehman Russ that can give orders, essentially.
Okay.
We have a command squad, and we have a Cadian command squad. They're pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Strachan, Primaris Psych, we've already discussed. We've got Gaunt's Ghosts. They're pretty good. There's a fight last in there.
Nice.
Weirdly enough.
Okay, cool. So next up, we've got the Regimental Attaches and Bodyguard. This is a new little kind of add-on, I would say.
Yeah.
So I really want to cover this. So how does this work?
This is really cool. You can add some of these attaches to a command squad unit.
So you pay for the command squad.
That's right.
All right, okay. And that's got a character model in it.
Yep.
And 4 of the guys, is it?
4 guardsmen, yeah. 4 vets.
Okay, cool. So we've got a character, 4 veterans.
Yep.
And we can add some extra models to it. And who can we add to it?
We can add a Master of Ordnance, an Officer of the Fleet, or an Astropath.
So obviously Astropath, I'm assuming, can cast some psychic powers. Yep. Ordnance does...
he gives artillery buff.
Okay, real hits of 1.
Yeah, if he can see a target that they're shooting.
Okay.
And the Officer of the Fleet gives basically the aircraft, the planes and stuff, a reroll of 1 against targets he can see.
And you can take an Ogrim Bodyguard as well.
You can, yeah, you can take an Ogrin as well. They're quite beefy and they help the unit be a bit more survivable.
Yeah.
But as it is, because it's a unit that contains a character model with a wounds of 9 or less, the unit does benefit from Lookout Sir.
And we did have to double check this.
We did.
Because you could end up with a unit of 9 models here.
You could, yeah.
Because you could add 1 of each into these, and obviously you can't shoot that providing there's another unit within 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Because one of those models is a character and he's under the wound characteristic of 9.
Yeah.
So
thankfully, I don't think it's that bad because they're not particularly killy in combat and that kind of thing. But yeah.
Okay.
It's very, very interesting. And Gaunt's Ghost likewise, even though it's a ton of wounds in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can only attach these to command squads. You get various buffs and some stratagems to trigger off them, as we've mentioned already.
Nice.
Infantry squad, Cadian shock troops. There are a few different troops choices.
So what? Just quickly, what do Cadians get over just a regular infantry squad?
So Cadians can take 2 special weapons.
Okay.
But they can't take a heavy weapon team.
Right.
The infantry squad can take a heavy weapon team.
Okay.
Cadians also get the Cadian keyword.
Yeah.
And they have exploding 6s. So 6s generate additional hits with their las guns.
Okay.
Pistols.
So you get exploding 6s basically.
That's right.
All right. Nice. Next up.
Next, we have the Death Corps of Krieg.
And what's so special about them?
These guys get a variety of different weapons. Likewise, you get 2, a bit like the Cadians. You can have a medic in there as well. And these people, you can't win them on anything better than a 3.
Okay.
As per base. So 1s and 2s just automatically fail.
And Catachans are in here. What do they get?
They get exploding 6s in combat.
Okay, cool.
We have Sly Marbo.
Legend.
He's a legend. We've already talked a bit about some of his tricks.
Yeah.
We have Kassakin.
Okay.
For me, one of the stars of the book. They are kind of like an elite guardsman unit with hotshot weapons. The special rule here is you can pick a doctrine that you haven't got on any other units in your army, and they get it in addition to the ones you have picked for your army. Now, I can see the cogs are ticking because there is a lot you can do with this unit.
Wow. I'll be having 3 of these units, please.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. We've got a Preacher. He can give you reroll hits in combat. We've got Harker. He buffs Catachan jungle fighter units, unsurprisingly. Engine Seer, Servitors, Commissar now gets the orders we've mentioned. Their execution, if you fail a morale check within 6 inches of them, you can use the ability and it's once per turn, you auto-pass your combat attrition.
Okay, cool.
But you don't remove another model.
So you just lose the
you
one
just
model.
Shoots the one that was going to run.
Yeah.
And then you auto-pass your attrition.
That's good.
It's really good. Ogrins, they've had a big glow-up.
Okay.
Bullgrins as well. Rattlings, Rough Riders.
Oh, let's talk about these.
Rough Riders were probably my favourite guard unit
ever,
which is why I've got a bunch. 12-inch move, naturally. Weapon skill 3+. That's
really good.
It's pretty good. And they've got 2 attacks each and 2 wounds each. They're also toughness 4.
It's okay, yeah.
With a 4-up save. Now, you get option for some of the Lancers here. So all of them have a hunting lance. And you can choose between the melter tip and the frag tip.
Yep. Is this when you fight?
This is when you fight, yeah. When you fight. So the frag tip is strength user, AP 1 damage, and each hit roll, successful hit roll, scores 2 additional hits.
Okay.
So with 2 attacks, you could generate 6 hits if you hit with all of them.
Yeah, nice, yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the melter tip is just your base attacks, but +2 strength, AP 4, flat damage 3.
Okay, nice. That's strong.
Now, if you charge, you get +2 to the strength characteristic of the models.
Is that on all models?
That's it. Yeah, all models.
And that's in their datasheet rule?
That's in their datasheet rule, yeah.
Does that even work if you've got a power saber, which is kind of like a...
Yeah, you just get +2 your strength when you charge.
Okay, good. That's good. That's good.
It's good because it puts your Melter Lance at strength 8.
Yeah.
which is very strong.
So strength 8 -4 fleet damage.
Yeah,
And you can buff that with orders.
you can. Yeah,
You could buff this with full rerolls to hit.
you could. Yeah,
And you can make it super durable by making it can't be shot or
can't
something.
be hit on better than a 4. Yeah,
And with a 5-up invuln.
yeah, you can do a lot with this unit. It's
a lot.
It's pretty funny. You can take a Goad Lance, which is a special weapon as well.
Yeah.
1 per 5, which hurts vehicles. And the last thing they get is that they ignore any or all modifiers to their move characteristic, advance rolls, and charge rolls.
That's good.
Because they're riding horses, so obviously you can't slow them down.
So in a guard mirror match,
Yeah.
when they're trying to do these psychic powers on you,
Yeah.
make you -2 and shoot you with suppression, they're like,
I'm
don't
a
care.
horse. What are you on about?
Don't care.
You can't slow me down.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tau with the charge debuffs. No.
No.
But yeah.
Go over difficult ground, thank you very much.
Yeah,
and I'm
so
not going to care.
these guys are core, they are platoon.
Yeah.
So they benefit from everything.
Brilliant. Love it.
Yeah, fantastic unit.
Okay, well, let's talk about, look, I think we should probably talk about the battle tanks.
Yeah,
Let's go over some of the profiles of the shooting. So talk about before we get onto the Rogue or Dawn,
Okay.
let's talk about a regular Lehman Russ.
Oh, right.
Let's talk about some of the weapon options. So the battle cannon now.
The battle cannon now is 72-inch range, heavy D6 +3.
Okay,
Now, bear in mind, you don't get that if you move half, you shoot twice anymore.
right.
That's gone.
Yeah,
Completely gone. So D6 +3 shots, blast, strength 8, -2 AP, flat 3 damage.
right. So it used to be D3, it's now flat 3.
Yep.
And it used to be minus,
-2.
so it's
still
that,
-2.
okay.
And it's still strength 8. It is a turret weapon, though, so you will get your +1 to hit because it's a turret weapon.
Great, nice.
Fantastic.
Decent profile.
The Demolisher Cannon.
Let's go with
This
that.
is another choice people were making. It's heavy D6 now, so less reliable.
Yeah,
There's more of a choice now between this and the normal battle cannon.
yeah.
Strength 10, AP3, D3 +3 damage.
That's quite a lot of damage.
It is a lot of damage. Only 24-inch range,
Yep.
blast, turret weapon.
What's the eradication?
Eradicate a Nova Cannon, 36-inch range, D3 +6 shots.
Okay,
So more reliable. Strength 6, AP2, flat 2 damage, ignores light cover.
okay, good. So like that's your elite killer. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's your elite killer.
Oh, go on then.
I like this one a lot. The Plasma Cannon. So 36-inch range, heavy D6 +3,
Yep.
strength 7, AP4, flat 2 damage.
Okay, armor contempt, you can suck it.
Yeah, and guess what? If you overcharge, it becomes flat 3 damage.
Nice, okay.
And you suffer, of course, mortal wounds on ones to hit.
Yeah.
Auto Cannon, 6 shots, strength 8, AP2, 2 damage.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And then the Gatling Cannon is 20 shots, strength 6, AP1, 1 damage.
Just be strength 5, right?
Used to be strength 5, no AP, but you did used to be able to shoot twice for 40 shots.
Okay.
So this is a nice trade-off.
Saves you a lot of time though.
Yeah, and if you want to make sure you get 5 hits on an enemy unit to reduce their move,
That's the one.
that's the one.
Yeah.
And then the Vanquisher Battle Cannon.
Yeah.
This is my boy. So heavy 1,
Yeah.
strength 14,
Right.
AP 5,
Great.
D3 +6 damage.
Yes. Don't say it.
You are not allowed to make invuln saves against this. No
Don't say
invulnerable saving throws.
How many mortal wounds do I take?
D3 in addition.
Oh, gross.
So this is your mini hammerhead. I mean, it's almost as good as a hammerhead, actually.
Yeah.
Just not quite as many mortal wounds.
Okay. So they're all a really cool choice now.
Yeah. And they all cost the same.
Great. Easy. And obviously Games Workshop have already reviewed a lot of this sort of field ordnance, batteries and stuff. So we're not going to worry about that. You can obviously check that on Warhammer Community. We'll put a link below to some of those links on there. Now, go on. Let's go over the Rogue or Dawn.
Right.
Give me his just baseline stats. How far is he moving, his toughness and stuff?
Moves 10.
Yep.
Toughness 9.
Wow.
17 wounds.
Okay, that's quite a lot of wounds.
And a 2-up save.
And a 2-up save.
It's pretty good.
And what's he armed with?
So you got a couple of options. The Oppressor Cannon.
Sounds oppressive, yeah.
Yeah. Heavy D6 +3.
Yeah.
Strength 10.
Okay.
AP3.
Right.
4 damage.
That's ridiculous.
It's a turret weapon.
That's gross.
Or you take the Twin Battle Cannon.
Yeah.
2d6 shots. So
Right.
not as reliable, but you could get more shots.
Yeah.
Strength 8, AP3, flat 3 damage. Turret weapon.
Obviously, you combine that with the order of like doubling how many models it
Yes.
it counts as, and then you're just getting 12 flat
12.
shots.
You could get 12 flat shots, yeah.
And I think that we'll see that happen a lot, you know. So, okay.
You got a bunch of other options here. You can have a Gatling cannon on the front, which is quite tasty.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Bit of a beat stick and no other special rules, just...
That's it. It comes with the armoured keyword inbuilt.
Yeah, okay.
You don't have to pay for it.
All right.
Yeah.
So any other picks you want to just talk about? I'll give you one.
I will talk about just a few changes. that are really important.
Go on.
You can't take any other vehicle units in units of 1 to 3 anymore when you write them in the list. There's no more 9 basilisks. There's no 9 death strikes. Okay, it's just 1 of each of these other things. The only unit you can get multiples of in a unit is the Ross battle tanks. And they split.
Now I want to talk about this death strike.
Okay.
Okay, so the death strike, again, has been spoken about in Warhammer community.
It's got to be nerfed. It's crazy good, Steve. I don't know what I'm going to do against it.
I'm going to take 3.
I'm going to take 3. Ha.
What? So what we're going to do for you is we're going to show you a members video exactly how to play around this thing.
Yes.
Because you will get some people, I was going to use another word, people like Chris Anderson on the channel. He's like, I'm going to get 3 and this is what I'm going to do. And I'm like, cool, Chris, I'm going to create a members video just to help everybody else but you, Chris, all right? So we're going to help you play around this. Michael, are you taking a death strike? You are a competitive player and you've had fair, I'd say pretty decent rankings over the years. Are you taking one?
No.
Am I taking one?
Probably not.
Does it do combat? No. So it's cute.
It's cute, yeah. It's cute.
If you could really catch somebody out, okay, and it really could create a feel bad for your opponent.
Yeah.
So look, we're going to make a members video on it.
Yeah, we will.
And we'll show you exactly how to play around it and how it works. But just so you're aware of it right now, how does it work, Michael?
Okay. So after you've seen your opponent's army list, you can choose one of 3 missiles.
Okay.
Okay, now there's actions that this tank does. One action is to choose a place where you're going to shoot in a future turn. So you place a marker down, and that could be anywhere. Basically.
And when's the action completed?
So the action is completed end of your turn.
Right, so what this means is you cannot pick a target and shoot it in the same turn. Your opponent has a turn to react to it.
That's right. Yep.
Okay, so that's the first thing, you get a turn to react to it. And the 3 types of missiles are like, you pick a spot and it's either really close range, really powerful, or a little bit further explosion, but less powerful.
That's right.
And an even wider one, and it's probably not very powerful at all.
That's right, yeah. And one of them does hang around for the rest of the battle. So do you remember the Vortex bomb markers from, I think, like 6th edition?
Before my time.
Well, you used to have like a metal half sphere, hemisphere, and you'd put it on the table and it'd scatter around the board.
Right.
So one of them does have a marker that stays on the battlefield.
That's probably the most useful one.
Mortal wounds, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's probably the most useful one.
It is an action though.
Okay.
I mean, we're going to talk about a lot of this stuff.
And you can move the marker, right?
You can, yeah.
But
so
again, that's another action.
That's right, yeah. So the action is either move the marker or put the marker somewhere, and then it's a different, in your shooting phase, you can fire the missile, basically. And obviously you can't fire it more than once. It's a death strike.
Yeah. How many points is it?
160.
160 points for a one-time missile.
Yes.
Okay.
Just absolutely 100% double checking. And it is, I've lost it. It's not even in the book. Death strike, there it is, 160.
So 160 points.
Yeah.
That's a lot of points for a vehicle.
Yeah.
That has a once per game ability.
Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't take one. So look,
I'm not taking one.
Don't panic, everybody.
It's okay. Yes, someone could put 3 down and then you're probably going to take some mortal wounds. But that's also 490 points of their army.
And the heavy support slots are very competitive in this book.
Very competitive.
So that means they're going to have to spend like another 2 to 3 CPs just to fill out more heavy supports to do this little trick. So look, I'm sure that your army lists are more than capable of dealing with it.
Yep.
I've got a unit of Death Company with Thunder Hammers with its name on it. And that's what I'm going to do. Just have that. In fact, am my Death Company really worried? My Move 12 army, are they going to worry about a little objective marker you put somewhere?
Don't think so.
Probably not. They're going to run away from that quite quickly.
More on that
later
when we look at it. Other things to mention, the Ordnance Battery comes in 2s.
Okay.
Like it is in the box. And that, I think, pretty much covers it.
Well, look, I'm really excited about playing some Guard. Can't believe I'd even say it. Michael, you've done a great job at talking me through it. And we've got so much more content ready for you, whether it's members or some free view content. We've also got a live stream battle report that you can check out, watch, and see Michael use the Guard versus me and my Eldar with the brand new, beautifully painted Avatar of Cain that C Studios did. So if you're looking forward to that, come and check out that live report. And thank you so much for staying with us till this point, and thank you Games Workshop for sending us the book and also the box so we can actually do this for you. So huge thank you to them, and we'll see you on another video. So take care.